Brussels European leaders were ready Thursday to give a green light to a crucial new stage of Britain's negotiations to leave the European Union, as fresh divisions in London highlighted the challenge Prime Minister Theresa May faces selling any deal to her own country. A humiliating parliamentary vote on the eve of the EU summit underlined May's weakness as she prepared for initial trade talks with the bloc. Pro-EU members of May's own Conservative Party joined forces with the opposition Wednesday to override their leader's wishes by giving lawmakers a vote on the final Brexit deal. The move followed an interim agreement, announced last week, in which May capitulated on the European Union's key demands about how much money Britain will owe as it leaves, the rights of the 3 million EU citizens in Britain, and the bloc's desire for an open border between Ireland and Northern Ireland. Britain and EU reached a divorce deal to move on to new phase in Brexit talks. The commitments were so wide-ranging that British negotiators struggled to explain how they would hold to them and also deliver on May's vows to ultimately have a full split from the EU. As May entered the meeting with EU ministers on a drizzly Brussels afternoon, she sought to put a brave face on the parliamentary vote, which she lost 309 to 305. "I'm disappointed," she said of the lawmakers' rebellion, but added, "We're on course to deliver Brexit. We're on course to deliver on the vote of the British people." European leaders have threatened that if Britain's parliament rejects the Brexit deal agreed to by the May government last week, the EU will not be in the mood to renegotiate. Brussels officials were unsettled by comments last weekend by Brexit Secretary David Davis, who said the deal was only a statement of intent rather than something real and binding. Still, most heads of state indicated Thursday that they plan to approve moving on to the next stage in the second day of meetings on Friday. Davis's dismissive remarks made clear that resolution of many thorny issues has been postponed rather than finalized. "Such statements cause concern," said Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte. "An eyebrow was raised here and there because of that comment," Rutte said as he entered the summit locale. "But I think it makes it more necessary to have as soon as possible that deal of last Friday in legally binding text, so that we cannot have a misunderstanding on what was exactly agreed." European leaders plan to find a way to David Davis-proof the agreement, said a senior EU official who spoke under ground rules of anonymity to brief reporters before the summit. "The joint report is a binding document, not an exercise in sleight of hand to enable us to move on to the second phase," European Parliament President Antonio Tajani told lawmakers Thursday. There was also a flurry of worry over whether May's government would stick to its promise to keep open the border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, which might require Britain to adopt rules and regulations nearly identical to those in force now. Irish leaders have made clear that an open border is a red line for them, and they have been backed by the 26 other remaining EU